Ever thought about how you can maintain your health, especially in a time like this when everybody is worried about getting sick and the coronavirus? Well, perhaps what you eat has more to do with it than you think. Want to find out? Stay tuned. All right, so we are in Whole Foods. Hopefully you can see us. This is my sister Eden. And we are getting some ingredients for an oil-free, soy-free, basically allergen-free grain bowl. At a time like this, it's important that you maintain good nutrition to optimize health. All right, so what we need for this is some root vegetables. We have multicolored carrots, oranges for orange juice. We're doing lemon juice. Those two are both in the dressing. I got some fresh herbs to season the vegetables because we're actually gonna roast them, but we're gonna roast them oil-free. And then, what else did we get? We have regular brown rice at home, so we're not going to do that, but you can use quinoa, you can use brown rice, you can use wild rice. We're just going to use what we have because I'm not trying to spend no more money. Period. I must say that the inclination in a time like this, especially when you're in the house, is just to kind of eat whatever is on hand, but it's imperative that you are mindful of what you're putting into your body. So we want to go with organic, whole foods, minimally processed, because that is going to encourage optimal health and wellness.
Positivity comes from what you put in your body and in your mind.
That's a fact. All right, so we are now looking for tahini for the dressing. I pretty much have everything else that we need. We're just gonna use regular brown rice as the base, but I need to find some tahini because that is imperative for the dressing. Yeah, we were not going to find that, so we are looking for tahini. Excuse me. All right, let's see.
Hey, tahini.
We'll just go with the Whole Foods brand.
No problem.
So at a time when people are worried about building up their immune system, I would suggest laying off your cup of coffee, your morning cup of joe, at least for the time being. If you can get to a point where you don't need it at all, that's fantastic. But at the very least, when you are really focused on building your immune system, one thing that you should limit is your caffeine intake. An alternative to your morning cup of coffee is a selection of herbal teas. So you can always find herbal teas that are good to boost and build your immune function. I'm here at Whole Foods. They have a nice selection, but you can go to your local health food store or a specialty grocery store, and they'll have a nice variety. Two that I would suggest are chamomile. Chamomile is very high in antioxidants, which will help in inflammation, which will help with inflammation, as well as echinacea, which is one of those herbs that is well known for fighting off colds. All right, so we are back. If you hear some barking in the background, that's my crazy dog Niles. But we are back in the kitchen, and we're gonna start making the dish that were speaking about when we were in Whole Foods. So it is an oil-free, so a no oil, soy-free, allergen-free grain bowl. Our base today is gonna be brown rice, and it has a medley of roasted vegetables, and we're gonna make a delicious tahini dressing to go over top of it. So to get this started, I wanna let you know about the vegetables that we're putting in ours, using some sweet potato, some multicolored carrots, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. You can really use... Shelby, why didn't you say you were here? This is Shelby, this is my sister. She's going to be helping me today. She snuck up on me. So So as I was saying, we are going to be using this mix of vegetables, but you can really use your favorite type of vegetable. Shelby, what's your favorite type of vegetable?
I like broccoli.
Broccoli. Well,
Yes,
cauliflower is a white broccoli, so we'll use the white broccoli today. So to get started, what you need to do is once you figure out what vegetables you're going to use, you want to prep your vegetables. So you want to make sure if you're using carrots and potatoes, obviously you're going to peel them and prepare them. For the florets, let me just grab my knife. I like to cut them down and cut them in half so that they're manageable. For the Brussels sprouts, trim off the ends. They have like these tough, hard ends, so I trim those off. Cut them in half, and any of the loose leaves will just kind of fall off. That's usually where most of the dirt is housed, and so you'll see that they'll come right off, and then you have a nice Brussels sprout. For the carrots, I'm just gonna wash one. I like to, just putting this to the side here. I like to cut them kind of on a diagonal so you can get some longer pieces. And as you get up the thickness of the carrot, I cut the angle just a little bit tighter so the cooking space is similar in size. So because we're not using oil, one thing that I really suggest to do is to make sure that you steam the vegetables. When you roast them in the oven and you do it with oil, you don't have to worry about that. You can just kind of prepare them and put them in raw. I would prefer that you steam the vegetables. So Shelby, why don't you check on our steamed veggies? Shelby is also doing our rice.
Oh wow, our rice is looking so good. This was Shelby's first time cooking the rice, and she did a phenomenal job. Now let's take a look at the steamed veg. Oh, these look great. We're basically ready to put them on the tray to prepare them to season. One thing I forgot to mention, when steaming the vegetables, I steamed the root vegetables first because they tend to take a lot longer than the cauliflower or the Brussels sprouts. So if you're using sweet potato and carrots like we did, I would suggest you steam those first for about 5 minutes, then you add in your softer vegetables and steam those for the remaining 5, and everything should be right at the same texture and good to go.
So we have already talked about how to kind of prepare the vegetables. Now what we're going to do is we are going to season them because again, we're not using any oil, so we steam them. The vegetables are already steamed. We steam them for about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, just enough to get them tender. So when they go in the oven, they'll be nice and soft, as well as the moisture from steaming it is going to be there. So I'm going to have Shelby season it, and we're just using a little 21 seasoning from Bragg's, some regular Himalayan salt, and some fresh sprigs of thyme. So you can go ahead and do that. Having fun, Shelby?
I think so.
Now that the vegetables are seasoned, we put them in the oven to roast at about 425 for 20 to 25 minutes. What we looked for when we were roasting it is really that the vegetables started to get golden brown and a nice little crust on them.
All right, so now that while the vegetables are in the oven roasting, we are going to make the dressing. So for the dressing, and I'll keep the blender down here. This is a double can of chickpeas. I'm going to use the chickpeas as well as the aquafaba. Then we have, since this is a double recipe, we're using 1 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, The key ingredient, tahini. So the star of our dressing is tahini. We're going to use 3 tablespoons. The tahini is going to give it a nice nutty flavor without the nuts. Tahini is sesame seed base, so you get that flavor without having to worry about nuts if you're allergic to that. We've already put in our lemon juice. I'm going to do just a touch of salt. One more touch. And then we have a touch of garlic powder. So this recipe does call for black pepper. I prefer not to use black pepper. I actually use just a shake of cayenne to give it a nice spice, but not too much. All right, so you put that in your blender, and we are going to blend this up until it gets to a nice creamy consistency. Awesome. So now let's see how this tastes. That's really good. I'm gonna add just a touch more salt. I used Cara oranges, which are a little sweeter than the normal oranges that I use, which is navel. So because of that, I'm gonna just add just a little bit more salt, kind of cut down some of that sweetness. And I think this could stand just a little bit more cayenne.
Now it's time to take our veggies out of the oven. Let's see how they look. Oh wow, look at this golden brown. This is beautiful. This is exactly what we were looking for. Almost time to eat.
So we took the roasted veggies out of the oven, and don't these look beautiful? All right, so we're gonna plate it up. Shelby did an awesome job with our brown rice here. So we'll put a nice portion of our brown rice. That out of the way. And we just have like a protein grain mix here, so it has some delicious goodies in here, some baby kale, some watercress. So we'll put that just like that. Not too much. And then now for the veggies. I've done this dish as well with some roasted asparagus, broccoli, which is Shelby's favorite veggie. Alright, gotta make sure we get everything. We're just kind of neaten that up. Brussels sprouts. Awesome. And the last thing that we need to do is add our dressing. So wipe this off. All right.
And here's a picture of the finished dish. Doesn't this look amazing?
So now I need to try this. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, wow. It's really good. I wish you guys were here to have some of this. This is delicious. Well, I'm gonna go and finish up this bowl. But if you enjoyed this video, I ask that you like and subscribe, share it with friends. And if you're curious about the recipe, I will leave that in the description below. As always, I want to remind you that God wants us to be mindful of our health and our bodies, that He desires that we be in health and prosper even as our soul prospereth. And His word says that whatsoever we eat or whatsoever we drink, we should do it all to the glory of God. So like I said, at this point in time when things are seeming crazy and people are concerned about their health, make sure you're eating those things that build up your body. Until next time, peace.
Before I go for real, I just wanted to share a couple resources that you can look at if you want to learn more about nutrition and how it affects the body and builds up the immune system.